Adams have been saying this for a while, but now there is a woman on Instagram who is accusing Saweetie of being a yacht girl. And for those of you who don't know what a yacht girl is, it's basically a girl who sells cookies, but she's not a Girl Scout.
She's got millions of followers, fame, and fortune, but what if I told you Saweetie's glamorous lifestyle might not be what it seems? An unknown woman just exposed her with shocking receipts. And this could change everything you think you know about the industry. You might not be familiar with this woman, truth be told. Neither was I. Her name is Maybach May, and at first glance, she doesn't appear to be anyone extraordinary. Scroll through her Instagram and you'll see what seems like a typical influencer. An attractive woman with a polished look, a few stylish photos, and not much else to catch your attention. Nothing about her page screams fame or fortune. But that's where most people are mistaken. A small follower count doesn't always mean someone lacks influence, especially in the hidden corners of certain industries. Beneath her modest social media presence, Maybach May holds a far more significant role than most would ever guess. It turns out, Maybach May is considered one of the most well-connected madames in the entertainment and luxury circuit. Her job? Linking glamorous women with wealthy men across the globe. From Dubai to Lagos to major European cities, she's built an exclusive network of elite clients. Many women seek her out because she's the gatekeeper to the kind of men who move in lavish, high-rolling circles. One of those women, allegedly, is Saweetie, a popular figure boasting over 12 million followers on Instagram. So naturally, the question arises, why would someone with that kind of social media power work with a woman whose following barely reaches 25,000? Here's where things get interesting. Maybach May reportedly has strong ties to a well-known footballer, Jadon Sancho, who plays in the Premier League, possibly for Manchester United. Sancho is said to earn more than $180,000 per week and has a reputation for spending generously on women. This connection, according to rumors, places Maybach May right in the middle of a discreet but lucrative network that bridges fame, money, and desire. Maybach May was no stranger to making deals. Word has it, she approached Saweetie with an enticing opportunity. She allegedly told her, "Look, I've got a young player in my circle, just 21, and he's generous. You're nearly 30. You've got the looks and charm. If you play your cards right, he'll spend big on you. All I ask is my share. Whatever's left is yours." The young man in question was Jadon Sancho, the football star known for splurging freely on women. To Maybach May, it was just another business arrangement, introductions for commission. To Saweetie, however, it quickly became something else entirely. Screenshots later surfaced showing what looked like flirtatious text exchanges about trips, friends, and money. "We should do a big bear trip," one message said. Another mentioned running it up on Jadon. Clear hints at the transactional nature of their dealings. But things took an unexpected turn. Somewhere along the way, feelings got involved. Whether Saweetie fell for Jadon or Jadon for her, no one can say for sure, but their connection deepened. Reports claim he even tattooed her name on his body, a bold symbol of devotion that blurred the lines between business and romance. That's when the arrangement fell apart. Maybach May, cut out of the loop, demanded what she claimed was owed to her. She reportedly messaged in frustration, "Sancho, after you're done paying and tattooing a woman you barely know, remember who put you there. I just want what y'all owe me." According to the rumor mill, the payments never came, and what followed was a flurry of accusations. Everything from drugs to witchcraft and alcohol were mentioned in her angry texts. The tone was chaotic, raw, and emotional. To understand this feud fully, you have to know who Saweetie is beyond the headlines. Though she's recognized as a rapper and singer, industry insiders allege that most of her wealth doesn't come from music. She's long been rumored to be part of the yacht girl lifestyle, women who mingle with wealthy men on luxury trips, sometimes blurring personal and professional boundaries. Popular Blind Item once described her as an Aminus Nepo baby rapper, singer, and descendant of famous names, earning far more from yachting than from her actual music. It also hinted that her substance issues were damaging her reputation and driving clients away. In certain circles, yacht girls operate under the radar. They don't post ads or label themselves openly. Instead, they cultivate a brand of desirability and exclusivity. As one insider explained, men prefer to believe they stumbled upon a stunning woman, not someone selling access. That, in essence, is the paradox of their world. It's all about illusion and influence. Many so-called entertainers, singers, influencers, models use their public image to raise their value in private networks. Fame, followers, and visibility become part of a carefully crafted persona. So when people see these women on podcasts, in music videos, or beside celebrities, it's not just clout, it's strategy. The glamour builds credibility, the brand becomes the product, and in Maybach May's words, "As long as I get my cut, I'm cool." At this point, Maybach May wasn't just calling names, she was laying out the entire influencer playbook. Her claims shed light on how some public figures blend visibility, relationships, and brand building to maintain relevance. Take Saweetie, for example. She's constantly making the rounds, appearing on group dating shows like 20 vs 1, popping up on podcasts such as Fresh and Fit, and staying active within online entertainment spaces. You rarely see established rappers like Cardi B doing that kind of media circuit. The difference, according to insiders, is strategy. While bigger artists can rely on music and fame, others need constant exposure to keep their name and image circulating. Interestingly, Cardi B herself once hinted at Saweetie's involvement in these behind-the-scenes dealings. The gossip trails back to the time when Saweetie was dating Quavo, and rumors swirled that she later became involved with Offset, Cardi's husband. That situation reportedly sparked tension within the Migos crew, leaving friendships and loyalties strained. To some observers, that drama became symbolic, a reflection of how Saweetie's career choices and personal entanglements blurred the line between ambition and chaos. As one might say, she wasn't just caught in the lifestyle, she was living the consequences of it.
Before, and I get crucified for it, people get so mad every single time I bring it up, but your favorite musicians are not very wealthy. Like, there's no money to be made in the music industry. A lot of them are broke. Some of the influencers on this app make more money than your favorite musicians. And the reason why, it's not just because, I think especially this applies especially like in hip hop, it's not just because they don't get paid that much, it's also because they get paid a decent amount. It's because their lifestyle is extremely expensive. Like, if you are in hip hop, part of being in hip hop is that you have to look rich, you have to pretend to be ultra wealthy, and living outside of your means is very expensive. It's not just like having a fancy house and owning cars, right? It's also like having a glam team all the time, having an agent, having a manager, having a social media person. All of that is very, very expensive. In your mind, you thought Saweetie was affording all of that off of her music career when she's been in the game 10 years and has still not put out a debut album?
Now here's where the story takes an even more revealing turn, into the economics of influence itself. One woman in the discussion pointed out something that many fans overlook. Most influencers aren't nearly as wealthy as they appear, and when you think about it, that statement hits hard. With Saweetie's 12.4 million followers, you'd assume she's living in abundance. But the reality of social media fame is that image often costs more to maintain than it earns back. Influencers, especially those known for beauty and luxury, face immense pressure to keep up appearances, designer clothes, vacations, cars, parties, the works. That image is their brand. Without it, their appeal fades. Now compare that to creators like YouTubers, who build audiences around their personalities, commentary, or humor rather than glamour. They can film from a bedroom, wear a hoodie, and still draw millions of views. Their income is tied to engagement and creativity, not image upkeep. As a result, many end up financially better off than the influencers who look wealthier online. It's the same principle you see in sports. Think of Kawhi Leonard, a multimillionaire athlete who lives modestly and avoids the flashy lifestyle. His wealth grows quietly, while others spend just to prove they have it. But for someone like Saweetie, the rules are different. Her fame depends on presentation, the illusion of success, when the music money isn't flowing, and without a debut album to generate real income. The question becomes unavoidable. Where is the money really coming from? And as the story unfolds, that question leads to even deeper and darker revelations.
You are ever trying to pocket watch your favorite celebrity and their musician specifically, right? You're trying to figure out if they're broke or not. All you have to do is check to see their endorsement deals, right? The more endorsement deals they have, the more paid they are. If you have a favorite celebrity, I'm not gonna say no names, there's one in particular I'm thinking of, and they haven't had an endorsement deal in years, they're probably broke. And I'm gonna leave that at that. Unless they own businesses and companies that are kept on the hush, 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 they're probably broke.
And that, as they say, is the reality behind the shine. Unless an influencer quietly owns successful side businesses or private ventures, chances are that wealth is more illusion than fact. It's a crucial distinction. A person's brand partnerships often tell the real story of their financial health. In this industry, sponsorships are a primary source of income. We saw what happens when those disappeared during the Will Smith-Chris Rock incident. When Will's public image took a hit, his brand deals evaporated, and so did a large part of his revenue stream. That same logic applies to someone like Saweetie. She may appear successful, but her lack of visible partnerships tells another story. Without brand deals, a steady podcast presence, or regular paid appearances, the income dries up fast, especially in an entertainment landscape, where music alone rarely pays the bills. The influencer economy is demanding. Creating a successful YouTube channel or podcast isn't as easy as it looks. It takes time, consistency, and skill, and not everyone can keep up. So, for those trying to maintain a luxury image without sustainable income, shortcuts often become tempting. Some critics in the so-called manosphere have long argued that a portion of women in this scene turn to arrangements and private companionship as a survival tactic, not necessarily as a career choice, a symptom of an economy that rewards appearance over authenticity. Beneath the polished surface of the influencer world lies a complex and often uncomfortable truth about how social validation has quietly become a form of currency. The rise of social media has created a new economic ecosystem built on perception, where beauty, status, and desirability can be traded for access and opportunities. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat have become digital stages. Each profile a curated performance meant to project perfection. The influencers who thrive in these spaces often find themselves trapped within an illusion they helped build, one that demands constant upkeep and endless reinvention. Behind the filters and private jets, the truth can be surprisingly bleak. Many influencers living the yacht girl lifestyle, dining at exclusive restaurants, traveling to five-star resorts, and posting champagne-fueled photos are often barely covering basic expenses. What followers see as effortless luxury is, in many cases, the product of meticulous planning, strategic borrowing, and a relentless effort to stay visible in an economy where relevance fades fast. Maintaining that illusion of glamour costs money: hair, makeup, designer clothes, high-end dinners, travel, and photo shoots. Every Instagram post, in a way, becomes an investment in staying relevant. For those on the outside, it might seem glamorous, but inside the industry, it's a relentless cycle of performance, a lifestyle where self-presentation is survival. Many of these influencers are, in truth, living on borrowed time and borrowed images. They are constantly calculating how to sustain a facade that feels bigger than their actual lives. The pressure to maintain a luxury aesthetic can be crushing, leading to debt, burnout, and dependency on external validation. A single viral moment can make or break a career, and once the algorithm shifts, or the audience moves on, the same digital fame that once felt empowering can feel like a prison. Followers don't see the financial juggling act behind the scenes, the unpaid collaborations, the maxed-out credit cards, or the quiet desperation of someone trying to keep the fantasy alive. For many, brand deals and sponsorships offer a temporary lifeline, but those are fragile too. One wrong post, one public controversy, or one misstep in public opinion can lead to immediate loss of income. Without those deals, the extravagant lifestyle becomes impossible to sustain. And what remains is the pressure to find new ways to finance the illusion. Some do it through partnerships, others through private arrangements that blur the line between business and personal. It's not always transactional in the traditional sense. Sometimes it's social, emotional, or opportunistic, but it is always strategic. This hidden side of the influencer economy reveals how powerfully the internet rewards spectacle over substance. The most successful personalities are often those who can most convincingly sell a fantasy. And that requires not only charisma but also constant access to resources. Behind the shimmering photo shoots in Dubai or the yachts off the Amalfi Coast are countless unpaid interns, photographers, stylists, and silent investors who make the illusion possible. There's an entire ecosystem of invisible labor propping up the image of glamour that millions of followers consume daily. But that consumption has consequences. It creates a feedback loop where audiences idolize unattainable lifestyles. Influencers feel pressured to maintain them, and authenticity becomes increasingly rare. When an influencer admits to financial struggles or emotional exhaustion, audiences often respond with disbelief, as though suffering is incompatible with success. This creates a dangerous culture of silence, where influencers feel forced to hide any cracks in their perfect image, deepening their isolation and anxiety. Psychologically, this constant performance can take a heavy toll. Living under the gaze of millions while trying to meet impossible beauty and success standards erodes one's sense of self. Studies have shown that influencers report high levels of depression, loneliness, and imposter syndrome. The act of constantly pretending to be happy, wealthy, and confident becomes exhausting. They become both the actor and the character, trapped in an identity built for public consumption. Over time, this separation between public persona and private reality grows wider, leaving them unsure of who they truly are without the validation of likes, comments, and sponsorships. The illusion becomes addictive. The dopamine rush of attention feels momentarily satisfying but never lasting, and as that gap widens, some resort to unhealthy coping mechanisms, substance use, impulsive spending, toxic relationships, anything to escape the performance. Even briefly, it's important to understand that this is not merely a personal failing of individual influencers, but a reflection of a much larger cultural system that values optics over integrity. In this attention economy, success is measured in visibility, not stability. The internet doesn't reward quiet hard work, it rewards spectacle, controversy, and desirability. Many influencers, especially women, find themselves navigating a double-edged sword. They must remain aspirational enough to attract followers, yet relatable enough to seem human. The result is a form of digital performance art, one that is emotionally and financially draining. While male creators often thrive on commentary, humor, or technical content that doesn't demand constant reinvention of their image, women are expected to monetize beauty and youth to resources that the industry treats as finite. Their window of profitability is short, forcing them to capitalize while they can. This gendered pressure shapes everything about the influencer experience, from content choices to lifestyle decisions, and often drives women into a cycle of aesthetic maintenance that feels less like empowerment and more like obligation. At its core, this phenomenon exposes a societal obsession with appearance as value. We live in a world where visibility is mistaken for success, and wealth is performed rather than possessed. Influencers are both the beneficiaries and the victims of this culture. They've mastered the art of illusion, but that illusion demands everything: time, money, energy, and often some have begun to push back, embracing a more honest approach to content creation, sharing their struggles with transparency. Yet even that authenticity has become its own marketing niche, a curated imperfection designed to appear raw, but still maintain engagement. The system adapts. Even vulnerability becomes a commodity in the end. What the influencer economy reveals is not just the instability of digital fame, but the fragility of modern identity itself. We have created a culture where success must be seen to be believed, where truth is filtered and beauty is currency. The influencers who appear to have it all are often the ones fighting hardest to keep it together behind the scenes. And as audiences continue to scroll through endless feeds of curated perfection, they unknowingly participate in the illusion, rewarding the fantasy that keeps so many trapped inside it. The yachts, the designer bags, the private jets, they're not always symbols of wealth. Sometimes, they're symbols of survival in a world that values the image of luxury more than the peace of authenticity. And sometimes, the struggle is shockingly real. Stories circulate about women with hundreds of thousands of followers, even millions, who can't afford rent or groceries. Some allegedly depend on benefactors just to sustain the lifestyle their audience expects. It's not uncommon for influencers to showcase designer handbags and luxury vacations while, in reality, juggling overdue bills or borrowing money from friends. Their social media feeds are filled with luxury cars and champagne glasses, but their bank accounts tell another story. What looks like wealth is often carefully orchestrated: clothes on loan, trips funded by sponsorships or companions, and meals comped in exchange for tags and mentions. The illusion of prosperity is both their greatest asset and their most punishing trap. Once an influencer builds a reputation for opulence, they must keep feeding that image or risk losing credibility. Followers don't want to see struggle, they want aspiration. The pressure to appear endlessly successful leads many to make desperate decisions just to maintain the appearance of abundance. Some quietly sell personal items, take on hidden debt, or form arrangements with wealthy men who help bankroll their image. To their audiences, they appear to be living dreamlike lives. But behind the filters, the reality is filled with anxiety and exhaustion. This is where social media's cruel paradox reveals itself. The more glamorous an influencer looks, the more likely it is that their lifestyle is unsustainable. The algorithm rewards visual perfection, luxury aesthetics, flawless faces, and exotic backdrops, not honesty or stability. In the race for engagement, truth becomes expendable. Influencers know that a single unflattering post, an admission of hardship, or even a moment of vulnerability can shatter the illusion they've spent years building. So they hide the stress, the debt, and the loneliness behind another perfect selfie. Psychologists describe this as performative living, a modern phenomenon where people curate digital versions of themselves that differ drastically from their real lives. Over time, maintaining that divide takes an emotional toll. The influencer becomes both actor and audience, performing success while privately watching their real life stability crumble. Some fall into cycles of burnout, substance dependency, or emotional breakdowns, yet feel unable to step away because their image is their income. Fame, in this context, doesn't liberate them, it enslaves them to expectation. And the irony runs deep. Many of these influencers began as ordinary people chasing financial freedom or creative expression. They wanted to share their passions, inspire others, or escape traditional careers. But the economy of attention they entered is ruthless. Visibility doesn't guarantee income, it demands constant output. Without steady sponsorships or entrepreneurial ventures, most influencers are left scrambling to monetize fleeting relevance. A viral moment can create the illusion of success, but when the spotlight fades, so does the paycheck. It's a sobering reminder that in the social media age, fame doesn't always equal fortune. Behind every carefully curated image, there's often a quiet hustle to keep the lights on, a truth few will ever admit publicly. What looks like confidence might actually be fear of slipping into obscurity. What looks like luxury might be borrowed or financed. And what looks like happiness might be exhaustion masked by a smile. The reality behind the screen is rarely as glossy as the feed. It's a fragile balancing act between survival and self-presentation, between truth and performance, that defines the influencer era more than any filter ever could.